What is the starting point? Where's the idea coming from?
Well, I wrote the idea for it about 10 years ago, and I wrote it just as a short film that I never ended up making. But it was a period where I had just discovered Philip K. Dick's novels, and I was reading all of his books, just blowing through them. And so I think I just had this soup of science fiction ideas in my head. And and this notion of a hitman hunting his future self just popped in there and seemed like a good place to start something.
The thing is that you're quoting K. Dick, and of course it's obvious watching the movie. In K. Dick, there is a suspension of disbelief in terms of time paradox or time parallel or stuff like that. It's also in the movie, and how to play that in movies?
Well, that's always a complicated thing with time travel, is that time travel, if you dig too deeply even into the most carefully constructed fictional time travel notion, it falls apart eventually. It's something that it doesn't make sense. You're always going to hit a paradox. So all you can do as a storyteller is to work it out as intricately as you can. And I did actually spend a lot of time working out the rules of how time travel works in this movie. There is a set structure that I think in its own way makes sense that we stick to. But then narratively, you don't want to spend the whole time explaining that. So it's a matter of disciplining yourself to just show the rules in action, but not sit there and explain them all to the audience. And hopefully the audience will be along for the ride and won't mind it.
So what you're saying is that if I get the DVD and watch it 25 times,
you'll get it.
There won't be a flaw somewhere. There won't be a.
I can't promise there won't be a flaw, but I promise that it plays by the rules that it sets for itself with time travel. It plays by. It sticks very closely to them, and there are a really well thought out and coherent set of rules that it plays by. If you watch it and map it all out, hopefully it all makes sense.
I heard you worked on Primer, did you?
No, I didn't work. No, I'm a huge fan of that movie, and I'm friends with Shane who directed it. But no, I didn't work.
What you do is that you travel in time, of course, but you travel a lot. I mean, there's a scene in Shanghai, there's a scene in the farm, of course, there's the city. Did you want this? How can I say that? This expansion of places, of locations.
The scope, you mean, of it? Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that was something that was appealing. It also, though, you do everything just based on the needs of the story. So I needed the dangerous place of the city for Joe's world. I needed the more pastoral place of the farm to contrast to the city for Sarah's world for the second half. And then China was a place that we went over, and we filmed a few weeks in Shanghai to get this infusion of this entirely different world, which is this far future sci-fi world, maybe more what you're used to seeing in science fiction films. So yeah, I like that scope visually.
Okay, you and Joe, it's a long story, but how to get Bruce Willis into your world?
Well, Joe and I, have been friends for a while, and I knew Joe was going to play the younger part. Bruce was the first person we went to for the older part, and I was just so excited about the idea of working with him. I think he's a tremendous actor. He also, just the fact that he's Bruce Willis and has that kind of persona was great for this part in this movie. And I was just thrilled that he was excited to do it. But of course they look nothing alike, so we then had to deal with that.
How did you do that?
The approach we took to selling Joe as a young Bruce was twofold. First, we did makeup. We did very subtle change to his nose, his lips, and his eyes, and a little bit of his brow. And it was all practical makeup, all prosthetics. There was no computer work on him. But the bigger thing, and the thing that actually sells it, is Joe's performance. He studied Bruce, and he studied his mannerisms, he studied his dialogue, he listened to him, he hung out with him, and really got him down and created this character you could buy as a young Bruce Willis.
Did you attract him by saying, I have even a crappier time machine than you had in 12 months?
It does. It's just a hunk of metal, right? It's just this foreboding. We based the design of it on the gadget at the Trinity site, at the first atomic bomb that they tested. If you look at photos, there's this foreboding picture of just this orb with all this stuff on it. But yeah, the time machine, I wanted it to look like something that they had no idea how it works. I wanted it to look like just this formidable hunk of technology, of foreign technology. So he's going down bit by bit in terms of the
I don't know what you can do next time.
I don't know, maybe just a shoebox. Yeah.
There's a pivotal scene, the diner scene, when they talk to each other, which is important in so many levels for the time travel thing. Which there's this line when he says, "Don't worry, you won't understand anything about it." And also, it's a point where the movie becomes something else. It's an important scene. Can you tell me how you directed this?
Yeah, I always conceive that diner scene as like the centerpiece of the movie, the center stone that joins these two halves. And it's also important because it's the first time the older and young, and really the only time the older and the younger self sit across from each other and talk it out. And that scene was amazing to film because it was the first time these two actors were sitting down with each other. We had been filming a long while now with Joe separately in the makeup doing his Bruce impression, and with Bruce separately, but about halfway through the shoot when we sat down to do this scene, suddenly they were sitting across from each other. And you could see Joe's performance click with Bruce's mannerisms, and just on set, it was a really cool thing to watch.
And the Emily's part, the second half of the movie, can you tell me why her and how the...
Well, Emily, I've wanted to work with Emily for years. She's one of my favorite actresses, and just every role that she's in, she surprises you with the choices that she makes. And I wanted to be surprised, but I want someone to just infuse an energy into the back half. Because the back half, once we get out on the farm, we really need an actress who's going to, just spark off the screen and keep you interested in it. So Emily was definitely that. And yeah, the back half of the movie, I hope even if you've seen the trailers, I hope that you'll still be surprised by where the movie ends up going. It ends up being a very human story, I think, and goes to some places you wouldn't necessarily expect from a time travel action movie.
Since we started the conversation with Katie, let's finish with science fiction.
Sure.
Do you feel that it is the only genre where it can be ambitious, where it can be complicated without being afraid of losing its audience? Is it the last frontier movies now?
Well, I don't think it's the only genre. I think there's directors working in so many genres that are taking risks and are making engaging, amazing movies. But I think sci-fi does offer some unique opportunities to explore some complex ideas and some moral conundrums in a tremendously fun way. And it lets you play with big ideas, but it also gives you, both the eye candy and the brain candy of something like time travel to work with. So it's particularly good at that.
30 years from now, the mob will control time travel. My job is to eliminate targets sent here from the future.
時光旅行淪為殺人滅口通道，追殺未來。
You let him run free.
I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna find it. 拯救現在。I'm gonna take everything you got. 兩個我只能活一個。蝙蝠俠夜神起義，祖瑟夫哥頓利域。時空獵殺，9月27日交會對殺。